losing, but going on that 2-3. So both of these teams are really wanting the win here as we head to University on Oasis to begin, which is definitely one of those brawl maps. It does look like we are going to be having similar comps besides the Echo and the Echo on University of Cincinnati side, and the Diva change, where Tennessee is opting to have that, you know, typical Ryan Zarya along with Alex on the McCree, and whew, Alex can definitely hit those heads, so Angdog is going to have to be careful of his in the air.
Both teams are going to be opting for this initial push, and an early Mei wall going to be making it difficult for the Reinhardt to grab anything, but a late Mei wall going to stop Angdog from getting any purchase with that focus beam, but either team losing, both teams I should say, losing a couple of members, but it's University of Cincinnati with this Angdog Echo that are able to kind of push out Tennessee, or sorry, are going to be able to push out Tennessee and grab themselves the point early on. And not only grab themselves the point early on, but 50% to the Ant Matrix, 50% to the Echo. You're looking pretty good on ults.
Ooh, man, yeah. You know, those are really big picks coming in with the main tanks and the tank line in general. But, you know, University of Tennessee kiting back and now initiating here. And thankfully, they also bypassed that wall. Oh,
yep, they bypassed the ball, but Lucky Dog not going to be as lucky indeed. So Sweetie going to have another chance here in a few seconds to make sure that nobody can escape through this main corridor and keep those ults completely at bay. You see that the Deadeye trying to squeak its way around the wall, isn't going to do so. Atlanta Psych going to deal with the rest of it. And University of Tennessee now looking for a bit of a stabilization. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about in the pregame that I didn't really get the chance to was Tennessee, although they beat a bunch of these top teams, you know, they beat Wichita State, as well as a couple of heavy hitters. University of Cincinnati was able to squeak out the win versus UT Arlington, who currently sits in the second place spot for the entire league. So this is what we're seeing. This is the Cincinnati that we're seeing. We're seeing the Cincinnati that beat UT.
Yeah, no, you are completely right. As that gnarly Shatter comes, or Fire Strike comes in, and oh man, they are still brawling it out here with a kill at least in University of Tennessee. Hopefully that'll be the green light for them to push through, but the Shatter in the reverse comes in with Windmill. Oh man,
wow,
that was a gnarly Shatter.
Gnarly Shatter is one way to put it, but it was also a 180 Shatter from Windmill, and it got stunned immediately after laying it to the ground, but it didn't even matter because the team was, Cincinnati was able to clean things up, and there's not a lot of time left.
No, we are in last fight territory right now, Shadow, and I'm not sure if University of Tennessee is going to be able to hold this, but they have these very big ults coming online, so if Zenith is able to get that, that's going to be it.
Well, there goes the Blizzard from Speedy and Zenith, so both teams going to be frozen here on the point. It's up to Alex to kind of farm as many kills as possible over on the sidelines as UTK is able to finally flood the kill feed with blue and send University of Cincinnati back to spawn. However, it's just going to take one fight and possibly one Diva Bomb from University of Cincinnati to take the point back.
You're completely right there. You know, UTK doesn't have many ults online. Alex getting close to that high noon again, but Silver Talon has the bomb. If they're able to get a good angle on it, that can be game, especially if that can definitely be that win condition. As they shoot it out here, let's see if they get a kill. Oh, young man.
Able to find one with that self-destruct, but it goes past the intended target, and the shield and the bubble are there to keep everything alive. Defense Matrix to stop the Deadeye, but the kill's still coming through for Cincinnati as Speedy builds up another freeze before Zenith can. Gonna be able to commit that to the fight and zone out the majority of the members of University of Tennessee as Cincinnati finds a bit of purchase here on the point. They're able to take the back line out as well as the tanks. And although Tennessee commits that Blizzard and the Amplification Matrix, they'll be able to find a couple of kills. The presence, however, is still heavily in favor of Cincinnati. They get their Reinhardt into the mix. Lucky getting mighty low on the Zarya, but able to find a little bit of healing in the back line. And that's exactly what Tennessee wants to happen. Able to find the Reinhardt out, and without Windmill, Cincinnati just can't really sustain against what Tennessee has on the board.
And you know what? I do like the change coming in from Alex on the Doomfist, really displacing the backline and allowing UTK's other team members to try to also get on those team members that are displaced here. And Basher has that Shatter coming in, so we got to see a defensive Shatter because Windmill and Silverton have those ultimates online as well, are coming up.
And Basher knows this by now. The Rhine Mind battles have already begun. You can see the shield staying up a little bit longer than I would say you usually would see a Reinhardt holding in this situation. This is where you'd like to swing as long as you've got that available. The Shatter comes down from Windmill and nothing happens, so the return Shatter comes through. Basher able to land it, the Graviton to clean it, and the Meteor Strike to wipe him off the table. Able to find the kills needed. Alex gets the triple, and University of Cincinnati gets sent back to spawn as Tennessee, running this back from 0-99. Able to put it down to the first point, and what a barn burner we've got ourselves started out with here. A slugfest indeed.
Whew, you know what? 99 to 99, and it is only the first map of Oasis. Oh man, you can just tell how both of these teams acknowledge that this is an important game, and each of these teams have to win it. But only one can do that. You know what? I do like that change that Alex did make in the end there onto the Doomfist. It does look like O-Speedy will be matching the McCree as well. But Alex was able to do a lot of work on that Doomfist, really displacing that backline and getting that ultimate very quickly. And as we saw in there, thankfully able to getting that ultimate combination with Lucky Dog. Again, Angus opting to go with that Echo. It worked really well last time, so I'm sure Alex is going to be trying to focus on that and also get that high ground. That's going to be very important for UTK, UTK's push here.
And you know, traditionally this is where the push goes. You control the high ground and then you fight to the point. Kind of a tried and true method, but Basher gonna have to get out of this fight pretty quickly as the shield just not gonna be holding up any presence, and Speedy still continuing to pepper in damage, trying to find the better of their counterpart in Alex, but hasn't really had clear sight lines. You can see the roll from University of Tennessee to get them underneath the high ground where they have control over the point, and as well as positional control as they drop from the high ground, but now at 5v6. Immortality field out for University of Cincinnati to keep them in the fight and alive. And it is going to do just that. Windmill's going to keep spinning and keep swinging.
Oh man, yeah, keep swinging until he has that Shatter available in this first fight. But on the flip side, UTK also has their fair share of ultimates coming online with their DPS ready to utilize. Zenith, Blizz can be very powerful if they're able to get enough of them on point. And if Basher is able to block that Shatter coming in from Windmill, he's probably looking for right now. Like you said, Shuttle, the mind games are beginning.
Oh, and speaking of the mind games, you gotta be careful. There's a Lucio! The kills are rolling through for Cincinnati here in Tennessee. They just looked like a team that I play with in Plat or Gold. Sorry, I'm putting myself on a pedestal. The team I play with in Gold, I mean, they just kind of rushed in there. They didn't look like the plan was really solidified. And on the counter side, Reginald was just waiting for that Maywall to come up so that Tennessee would get aggressive. You
were so right. You know, they were right there with every Lucio's dream of, this is boopable. I got this.
And now you're having to push into a position where the high ground is given to the enemy. The Blizzard is going to have a little bit of an effect on the top part of that middle area, but not enough. So Speedy's still going to be able to work something out with this. Deadeye, the flashbang's not going to land, but the amplification matrix might as well be a moot point as well. Nobody really paying attention to the fact that Speedy's dropped and found a rotation on the center pillar, so he's just going to get free damage in, work up another Deadeye for the next fight, and University of Cincinnati still looking very equipped for their next engagement.
Yeah, you know what? University of Cincinnati is definitely up in that ult economy right now. Angdog has that duplicate, and duplicates can be so powerful. We might see 3 Rhines on the field if they do decide to duplicate that Rhine. But UTK, we're in last fight territory, and Lucky Dog has to get that grab up, and Parvier has to protect the team from this barrage of ults that Cincinnati has.
And there goes the Deadeye, but zoning gonna keep most members alive. Chu decided to peek, try and get the kill onto the McCree, but it's not gonna work out in the way they planned. Sound Barrier and a Maywall keep the self-destructive bay, as University of Tennessee has done a good job of dealing with the ultimates that Cincinnati had to bring to the table. Now they only have that duplicate from Andog, and that becomes an ultimate that you now have to work into a niche situation.
Yeah, no, 100%, but you know what, if I was UTK, I'd be pretty happy with the outcome of this. Forcing Cincinnati also to utilize a good bulk of their ultimates, and you know, Basher and Angdog, both having those ultimates and both having to, with UTK, really has to get the upper hand on it to be able to get the ultimate charge for the rest of the team and keep building on this percentage right now.
Well, there goes the Maywall with the flashbang to try and burst down Windmill, but the healing is there to keep them alive as Andog has copied the Baptiste. Able to get a second immortality field into the mix, but Alex and Lucky Dog still finding what they need as Andog evens it up now with the kill onto one of the members of University of Tennessee. Still on this Baptiste, already built up, I think that was 2 amplification matrices over the time of that ultimate. And the rest of the kills for Cincinnati slowly gathering in. The Graviton off point, a last-ditch effort. Lots of low members for University of Cincinnati, but nobody there for Tennessee to clean up on the damage.
Nobody there, and Zenith is trying his heart out, but not going to be able to hold out. Bashir is once again trying to just build this up, trying to keep stalling out, and Lucky Dog has to be the one to contest right now, Shadow.
Alex back onto the Doomfist, so we'll see if that has any impact on their ability here. He was able to work it out last time, but a big shatter, big flashbang, and all the mobility, all of that stall for University of Tennessee is going to go down the drain, and we're going to have a 1-1 here on Oasis.
1-1 on Oasis, and oh man, this is already looking like an even matchup for both Cincinnati and Tennessee coming in right now. We are going to be heading on to... Ooh, I forgot the name of this map, but you know what? City Center. And you know, we have a lot of verticality onto this map, but it does seem like both teams are still opting for that brawl. I'm a little surprised because, you know, I gotta say, Cincinnati probably has that leg up because Silver Talon is going to be able to really take advantage of the high ground and probably deny that high ground from Alex because, you know, if anything, the rest of the team's just going to have to utilize that jump pad where Silver Talon can just go up there, take advantage, and also protect Speedy, and keep the high ground in his court.
Yeah, and on top of that, on a map like this where both teams run brawl, it becomes, you know, which Baptiste gets position on the top of the middle and which one can find it there on the teleport side. And you see University taking the teleporter first because they do have Silver Talon on that D.Va. They do have Andog on this Echo, so they have members that are able to kind of pepper into this fight, keep the control from actually going over to University of Tennessee if need be, and allow for Cincinnati to prepare for the fight they want to take. Doing so, Maywall comes out to stop a lot of the damage. Not really there to trap anybody or keep anybody at bay, but really just there to make sure that Speedy and Andog can't get a lot of damage in, but both Speedy and Andog have rotated by this point, but an early amplification matrix will come out from Young Man to keep the members of the University of Tennessee alive and dish out a little bit of extra damage. But the sticky mines from Ando are going to be a little bit too much for that Baptiste to heal. Andog able to finally kill onto the second member of the DPS line for University of Tennessee, goes in with the focus beam, and now it's just a lonely Baptiste with no immortality field.
Oh man, but look how many ultimates that both teams were able to build with that brawl right there. Andog and Speedy having the ults available and ready at the ready, and I'm sure that maybe he might go to that Baptiste. It really worked out last time, but you know, I'd like to see 3 Ryans on the field because that is always fun to see. Shatter for everybody.
And speaking of the Reinhardts, early kill from Windmill on the Parvir, and for University of Tennessee, your push is already dead. You lose your Lucio that early on, you don't have the ability to get your Reinhardt in and out of engagements. Your team kind of gets stuck in this limbo of long sight lines, so University of Cincinnati just able to kind of bring their ultimates back online. And with 5 ultimates coming into the next situation, as long as you're rotating these ultimates, you should be pretty fitted to take this map.
You're completely right. You know, we're halfway on to this percentage right here, and really great value that Cincinnati got out of just that window. But on the flip side, UTK has all the ults in the world to fight this right now, but the bomb comes out. Will it get a pick? And it does, Shidle.
Yeah, that's able to find Basher out, and that takes the Shatter offline for University of Tennessee, but it also takes the space out of the equation. Now you can't hold this corner. You have to go completely back, and you give Cincinnati another option to kind of just whittle up and get this peak damage.
And you know what? Reginald has that B coming in, and I'm sure they are well aware of all the ultimates coming in from UTK right now. Cincinnati's ultimate goal is to sustain this barrage of ults and kite back and still keep control of this tempo right now, especially since we are in last fight territory.
Yeah, and the grab's gonna come out, the blizzard's gonna come out, which is gonna force Reginald to use that sound barrier, which means that University of Tennessee has a free grab with Lucky Dog. Question is if they're gonna need to use it. Zenith does have to use the blizzard, but it's gonna be a little bit too early, and Andog gonna get the echoed blizzard out very late, but a good mate wall gonna make things difficult. The Eat comes through from Silver Talon onto Lucky Dog, so no Graviton. I said it was free, but it's only free if you're able to sneak it past the cashier. Silver Talon not able to do a little bit of work, but does get desuited there at the very end. So University of Cincinnati might have to give up this point. But a very similar situation as the first 2 points, you have 99%. So if you're able to work this through, find yourself a couple of picks, which they are, suddenly the tables turn. You've got ults, you've got point, and you've got the map.
Oh man, what a tough fight, but University of Cincinnati takes the win on the first map of Oasis, which means we're gonna head over to Nimbani. Wow, what a fight coming in from both of those teams. But you know what, I gotta say, the D.Va and the Echo being able to really take advantage of that high ground on such a vertical map, really gave them that leg up. And also Windmill, oh my goodness, what a gnarly shatter coming in, and especially in that last fight, though the tables were turning in favor of UTK, Windmill coming in there with his hammer and destroying the chance of keeping that point. And also, I gotta say that University of Cincinnati just consistently kept killing Bashir first, and once you have your main tank down, it is so hard to continue that push, and it really just forces the team to really just go back again and reset and wait for the tank.
Yeah, that was definitely a part of it. The aggression that we saw out of Windmill and the kind of support that they got from their back line in order to do so was definitely impressive. And for University of Tennessee, you're not out of this fight. They were close maps. You know, Cincinnati had a pretty good control of grabbing it the first time around and holding it, which for their defense definitely bodes well. But we move to a map like New Mbani, where now you have the chance to bring mobility into the picture, verticality into the equation. So hopefully that's going to bring something for Tennessee to bring to the mix. But University of Cincinnati looking really good on this kind of hybrid brawl where you don't have to change anything going into New Mbani. You can run that exact same composition with that D.Va and with that Echo being the members of your team that are kind of dedicated to dealing with the outliers that Tennessee might bring to the table. So for Tennessee, I'd like to see a little bit more respect for the D.Va Echo. It seemed like there was a lot of freedom for those two heroes, and the May pick for UTK just didn't really fully come to fruition. So possibly you go to the mirror and allow the McCree to continue going on the ground and see if you can't contest in the sky.
No, you're completely right. I'm a little curious if UTK will opt to do something similar that St. Peter's University did and continue that brawl, but also force them to play where they want to play. They did very well at that, and we'll see if UTK opts to do the same. But you're completely right. We got to pay the respects to D.Va on the Cincinnati side because, you know, Lucky Dog getting his Graviton in, that could have been a play that really that UTK was able to take that last point and start gaining that percentage, but getting that Gravi and just really eliminate that chance of trying to get a full wipe for the team in favor of UTK.
Yeah, for sure. As well as, getting the May stuck in a close quarters with the Reinhardt, so you have to commit the Immortality Field to save just one member of your team.
Yeah.
Because the Reinhardt's pretty effectively body blocking you getting any real helpful healing in that situation. So there's a lot of things little things that the University of Cincinnati was able to pull off. And when you're as tightly matched as Tennessee and Cincinnati are, it's going to be those little things that are going to set you apart. So I'm glad to see Lucky Dog going over to the D.Va, because it's going to give a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for Silver Talon to chase the back line, and Andog isn't going to be able to just pepper in those mines from afar. That's going to get telegraphed and defense matrixed, and so hopefully they're able to mitigate Andog a little bit there as well. But University of Cincinnati will be on the attack.
And you know what? Lucky Dog is really going to have to focus on SEMG's nades coming in, because those nades can be so deadly. SMG's nades, because those are so deadly. And if they aren't able to block them and the team does get purple, that's a green light, a green button for Cincinnati to go.
Oh, and they try to go with the below approach, but a May on high ground is going to make it difficult for Windmill, but he got the support that he needs. So still able to swing on through. Now this is going to open it up for Andog on the high ground. A lot of mines are going to land, but members of University of Tennessee falling one by one. Alex and Powerbear bring it back. The Mercy now trapped on the high ground, but Alex not landing every shot needed, but the next shot lands. And University of Tennessee are going to be able to stall out this D.Va for just a tad. They're not too hungry about it, but they will have a very successful first point so far.
Yeah, they did a great job there, and Young Man is very close to that window coming in, as well as Windmill with that Shatter online, especially compared to Bashir. That could be the opening pick that they need to push in, or it could be SMG's nade coming in. They got a really good nade on Bashir, taking him out of the picture to begin with. So if we get another big nade like that, that could be it.
And you can see how much dedication Lucky Dog is having to have in order to keep Andog at bay, but Alex can get taken down very early on. Not a fortunate situation. You don't have a mercy for that res. Your Diva's getting kind of not necessarily obliterated, but distracted to 100%. There goes the amplification matrix, but the pressuring and that defense matrix are going to make it impossible for anything to come out of that. The defense, however, going to be holding strong. It looks like Andog's going to try and get a self-destruct off of the duplicate here, but it's not going to come to fruition. A Maywall getting there just in time. Alex able to find a Deadeye for UTK. Not necessarily needed, but definitely sends a message to the University of Cincinnati that you're not going to get this point without giving us everything you've got.
Yeah, you know what? University of Cincinnati utilizing the duplicate and the Valk, but not as many. Especially since, you know, we have these powerful ults coming in. Silver Talon utilizing that bomb to create space and maybe distract enough for Windmill to come in there, or Speedy to come in there and utilize those two ults. But on the same side, UTK has their own powerful ults coming in, and Windmill does get the Shadow No Shidle.
And the Shadow's gonna come right back at him. Basher had that ready as well. And with the Blizzard to pair for UTK, they should be able to come out of this fight on top. Yeah, there goes the defense matrix as well as the Reinhardt. So no main tank presence or really presence of any sort on the point. University of Tennessee gonna be able to keep themselves in the fight. And even though Andog is doing massive amounts of damage, he's basically just feeding off of the Diva. Hasn't really been able to get those mines back into the tank line nor the support line.
No, you're completely right, and you know, UTK is really sustaining when they need to, staying alive, allowing University of Cincinnati to utilize those ults, and then coming through and continuing to hold this point. They have not allowed Cincinnati to even tap any percentage at all on the point.
So now it's going to be big on Andog to get a self-destruct up before they get taken out of this Diva form. Not able to do so, so has to just kind of plant the stationary bomb. Easy save from University of Tennessee. As Cincinnati going to be sent back to spawn once again. They've got a real bomb to work with and a Valkyrie as well, but Immortality Field will be ready from Young Man, as well as a shield from Basher. Sound Barrier not too far off from Parver as well.
Yeah, last fight territory here, and plays need to be made with University of Cincinnati to at least cap a point or two on this point right now.
And there goes the Deadeye from the high ground just to make sure that they can't come in and touch it. With 3 seconds left, someone's going to have to go ahead and bite the bullet. There goes the Diva onto point to trigger the overtime. Self-destruct going to have to go in to make a little bit of space, but it's not going to find anything. Silver Talon are going to get res, but immediately showered before they can get into their Diva suit, so it's going to be unfortunate as Andog in the back is able to find Alex out. No McCree online from University of Tennessee. Sound Barrier from Paravir going to keep everybody alive and willing as the Diva goes down for University of Cincinnati. The kills continue to come through for University of Tennessee. The kill feed exceptionally blue here in this final encounter, as it's just a matter of taking care of these last few final pesky members of University of Cincinnati, as UTK has a very convincing hold here on Numbani.
Oh man, what a hold coming in from UTK, and I gotta give it to them. Lucky Dog's change with the hybrid tank line coming in really, have to say, played in their favor, as well as the healing output coming in from Young Man and Paviar, just keeping the team alive, especially through the barrage of ults coming from Cincinnati. Though Bashir would come down, they really kept the focus and the healing prioritization up, and just consistently it played in their favor. But we are going to see UTK now attack, and it might be in the same way that, you know, they struggle on the attack side. And you know what? Coming into this point, this is a rough point as to sometimes engage in, but it's all about making that first pick. If we get a good first pick or some sort of play, whether it be, you know, Zenith maybe freezing somebody and the team collapses on that, or maybe maybe Pavier does boot them off the high ground, that can be the engage that UTK needs. But, you know, Cincinnati coming in with the same team composition on the defensive, so we'll see if this is enough to hold this hold the same defensive time as UTK did. Yeah. Very true.
You can come with an extremely strong attack if you're able to kind of work in this brawl composition to get the best out of it. So Cincinnati gonna have to commit to Tennessee if they're gonna take this fight, and Tennessee just gonna kind of kite their way back behind the point and force Cincinnati to reposition. And once they're in a favorable spot, then they're gonna go ahead and engage. So looking for that May wall to start that off. There they go on to point. Basher is gonna get stunned out and taken down. So although Tennessee wasn't really able to build up much out of the control percentage, look at their ultimates. They have the amplification matrix. They're very close to a Deadeye. And those two ults alone are going to cause a pretty big threat, pretty significant threat to University of Cincinnati.
They are quite split, though, so we are going to see how Basher and Alex are able to still play around with the team, even though they're sitting patiently waiting behind here. Cincinnati's doing a great job at just holding them there right now. They know that they're not in the most favorable position, but soon they will be forcing on this high ground here, so we'll see if Angdog's able to provide enough pressure to not allow them to do that.
Oh, and the defense matrix not going to stand long enough. Alex is able to find the opening kill onto Silver Talon's mech. That's going to take the self-destruct off the equation for a little bit for the nano boost. It is going to go out onto Windmill. So Shatter is online, but they get taken down. The kill's coming through for Cincinnati still here and now. And with a pretty big weight upon their shoulders is the Echoed McCree looking for the big Deadeye. Is able to drop down, able to find three.
Oh, my goodness. Angdog coming in with a play. Wow. What a gnarly dupe, Shidle. What a great defense hold coming in from University of Cincinnati. They have burned 2 minutes down, and Tennessee only has 2 minutes to continue on, or else this will be a draw, and we will be going to a map. We have ultimates coming online here, but Cincinnati also has those defensive ultimates. Chu is ready to utilize that Valk to either gain ultimates or protect the team right now. Oh, there it is. Valk's online.
Yeah, and with Chu's Valkyrie online, it's going to give a lot of credence over to Andog on this Echo to have a little bit of extra play time. The Deadeye as well from Speedy going to be a big threat, seeing as there's nothing from University of Tennessee to block that except for the May wall, which they are able to crack out and get a Deadeye of their own out and online, but Peregrine will fall. So a 1-for-1 trade on the support line as the self-destruct goes down. It's going to meet an immortality field for University of Tennessee. Basher's Shatter lands on deaf ears, and it does have to sacrifice himself to get the kills as there's continuing to trade, but it's up to Alex and Peregrine now for Tennessee to keep this attack alive as Cincinnati barely holding on there. I believe Cincinnati got to just above 28% on the point.
Yeah, really close here, but you know what? Lucky Dog has that grab, so we'll see if he's able to land it. But Angdog, he has been doing so much damage right now that they are already ready with that duplicate to go at it again. And we've seen how deadly that can be with their choices of characters coming in. So we'll see if that duplicate is going to be enough to defend and keep this defensive hole for a draw on Nubani.
And a good defensive positioning from Cincinnati, leaving their right heart down, but the rest of the team up here on the high ground just to make sure that it can't get abused. There goes the grab now coming out from University of Tennessee, able to find a couple members of Cincinnati. Cincinnati, however, still coming out on top with the kills as Silver Talon avoids the Graviton and finds the kill feed, able to find everything that they need here in this defense. And it looks like Cincinnati is going to force us into a draw here on Numbani. So guaranteed we're going to get at least 2 more maps, but very possible to see a map 5.
Yeah, with how both of these teams are playing right now, I definitely wouldn't be surprised. And there it is, Angdog with that powerful Echo choice, and that, oh my goodness, that gnarly Deadeye here. Oh man, what a play coming in from Angdog, just really taking advantage of the high ground. A really great defensive coming in from both, and as we see, it is a draw, but we will head to Volskaya Industries.
Yeah.
So, well, very, very brawl style composition or favorable for this map. So I wouldn't be surprised, especially coming in from Cincinnati, to still see that consistent team composition lineup. That hybrid composition with the D.Va has been really working in their favor on just taking advantage of that high ground and utilizing that. So we'll see as we go into Volsky Industries.
Yes, Volsky Industries is going to be our next battleground, and here's a place where I personally accept Cincinnati to do pretty well. Like you said, the composition that they've been running, it's pretty much applicable to any map in Overwatch right now. So being substantial in that, and the question is going to be, Tennessee, do you bring the Zarya or do you bring the D.Va? But we're going to have to figure that out after the break, ladies and gentlemen. So please don't go anywhere. We will be right back with University of Tennessee and University of Cincinnati. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with our next map of Overwatch as we move into Volskaya Industries with Tennessee and Cincinnati. And Tropic, this is a matchup where it's been pretty even. I mean, most of the control maps that we saw were 70 plus to 99, if not 99 to 99, tied out on Numbani. So definitely a match that could go the distance. And I hate to throw it out there so soon, but are you think we're gonna get a forever 2CP?
You know what? This is also another map where we can get a draw. We might get 2 draws in the row and might push it to a map 5, especially with how both of these teams are playing. And, you know, they're leaving everything on the table right now, Shadow. So I am a little curious if we will get a draw coming in because, they are fighting so hard, but you know what? We might see one of those, early season 2 CP maps where it just keeps going and going and going. Which I wouldn't be surprised either. But we'll see. I am curious if it does seem like Cincinnati's going to keep going with their tried and true, that hybrid comp. But Volskaya Industries, this is Zarya's turf. So especially Lucky Dog really getting a lot of energy really quickly, dealing that damage. If the Zarya will be the pick to, come up to be the upper hand pick in this team composition.
Well, it looks like it looks like Cincinnati, Tennessee, has kind of learned their lesson as they're gonna bring that Zarya back online once again, but this time around, hopefully going to be working a little bit better. However, University of Cincinnati, never heard of that college before. University of Cincinnati, just running with that tried and true. It's one of those, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of situations.
And you know what? This is going to be giving them an upper hand. Silver Talon's going to be able to take advantage of that high ground and probably deny the high ground that, Alex is really hoping that they're going to be able to get. But we'll see if the Zarya pick is going to be enough.
Whoa!
Oh my goodness! What a pick though, immediately!
Yeah, University of Tennessee, we were a little bit taken aback by the fact that they were like, yeah, we want to attack first, but I get it now.
Yeah! Oh my goodness! They want this right now, Scheidel. They are playing for it.
Oh, that they do, and the headshots are landing right now for Alex. It's like the switch has been flipped. Able to find every single kill that they need, and University of Tennessee will not only have no issue in taking this point, but they're going to be carrying a Deadeye with them to the second, as well as an amplification matrix.
Oh man, what a clean play coming in from UTK right now. And you know what? This has to be a mind game right now, Scheidel. Especially getting it so quickly. University of Cincinnati probably wasn't ready for it, and UTK is ready to snowball in with these ultimates that were built with that last fight.
Now UTK are going to have to fight for a bit of positioning. The second point can be a bit of a bang your head against the wall situation. So a big Deadeye from Alex is going to be important. An early defense matrix comes out from the Diva and line of sight works, but a late Deadeye, or early Deadeye I should say, going to work out because it doesn't need the full damage due to that amplification matrix that it supports. However, Windmill not going to have as much success getting healing through that May wall, so it's a bit of a tricky situation. And with the Echo online, it's pretty much that's the best case scenario for University of Cincinnati is to get a Blizzard online and continue to stall until they can get proper respawns back into the fight. But Tennessee not willing to let any of their members fall, and almost getting taken down there. Alex able to survive by just a fraction of a second.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Is the spawn advantage going to be enough right now? I'm not sure.
Gonna need to get a couple more picks in order for that to come into the story, just because a lot of the members are coming on 1, 2, rarely even 3 at a time. And so you get one pick, but then you lose 2 people, and now you have no presence, and then you have one person on point, then they get killed, now their respawns are back. You really have to be able to find 1 or 2 kills in that early fight in order for that spawn advantage to go in your favor.
We were talking about if this is going to be the 2CP that's everlasting, and you know what, with how UTK played right now, this might be that 2CP map coming in. University of Cincinnati's time to attack now. We'll see if they're able to get that quick snowball attack that UTK had, but we were wondering right before, why the sudden change in attack, and you know what, this team definitely practiced this and they were ready. This seems like this is their map, and the confidence level is just night and day coming in from comparison to the last map on Ubani and now Volskaya Industries.
And a beautiful use of the speed boost there in the beginning, instead of doing it traditionally how most teams do, where you speed boost yourself into the room off to the right hand side of what we're seeing right now, but using that speed boost to come around that corner so quickly out of the room that there just wasn't time to put a shield up. 2 shots go out, and all of a sudden you've lost a member.
Alex needed to hit those shots, and oh man, that whole first round, he was ready, and every head was right in his crosshairs.
So now it's up to Cincinnati to put a identically impressive time bank on the board. Maywall is going to come through, but very quickly broken down, so not going to be too much of an issue. Now you see, kind of backing out. They're really trying to make sure that they pick these fights very carefully, and leaving Andog on this flank forces University of Tennessee to kind of check themselves pretty often over on their back flank. The wall comes up to make sure that the Reinhardt is in this fight mostly alone, and the bombs from Andog are going to take out the Immortality Field as the brawl continues to happen. They are going to lose their Reinhardt. Windmill goes down, but a trade through as Alex falls as well, but Zenith able to find 2 more to keep it in favor of Tennessee on this defense.
And as we see, not as an impressive attack coming in like UTK did. And you know what? Quite a bit of those built already for UTK, but excuse me, on the flip side of Cincinnati, we do have the same, Angdog really up there with that duplicate online, and same with Windmill. So if they're able to make these plays right now, get a pick off of those ultimates, that could be their go button for this, as well as both Baptistes having those windows. We'll see if either of them are able to get, who's going to be able to get that first pick. That'll, probably make or break this fight right now.
Oh, not only a key wall, but a good capitalization from Basher, but it gets red. Cincinnati sees the charge coming through. They're able to catch it, take Basher out of the fight, and now it's up to Windmill to land a big shatter, but a blizzard's going to stop the majority of the members of Tennessee from doing anything here, so Windmill's going to get a pass and save that shatter for the next point. Just in case anybody's around, we'll throw out a Deadeye. There's the Tumbleweed for aesthetics, but a lot on board for Cincinnati going into the next fight.
That's true. Also on the flip side, quite a bit for UTK to defend coming in. Silver Talon's probably going to utilize that bomb as space creation, but on the flip side, if the team is able to sustain that, Lucky Dog has that grab, and no beat inside as well.
Oh, and a beautiful wall comes through, but not in the way you'd imagine it. Cincinnati looking to kind of drive that home, get the wall out, shatter anybody that's on the other side of it, but the wall actually lines up with the apex of the shatter and blocks his own team.
Whew, oh man. That was quite unfortunate. What an unfortunate wall coming in, and there it is, Alex hitting those headshots once again, and UTK holding strong right now. University of Cincinnati is already below the time bank that UTK has created for themselves. So we are probably going to see a Cincinnati attack once again if they're able to get this second point right now. And not many ultimates online in favor of University of Cincinnati, so they're definitely going to go in dry here and try to build those ultimates for an engagement.
Yeah, and not only build those ultimates, but they want to try and draw a couple of things out from University of Tennessee. The amplification matrix is something that you want to see used so that you have a little bit of an extra ability to kind of push in, and you need to be careful about the shatter from Basher because they predict where you are just like that, and the shatter comes through. Able to find one, but a sound barrier from Chu keeping them alive. Alex in the back line with the Deadeye, but no amplification matrix there due to the May wall. So Windmill able to find a kill for UC. University of Cincinnati now trying to stabilize here on the attack as University of Tennessee continue to keep the man advantage in their field. Zenith finding a couple of kills as well, and a Silverton on this Diva at this point doing little more than being a nuisance into the back. Hasn't really been able to find a lot of purchase, has to commit to self-destruct. Tennessee having a big party, if you will, on the point. Ultimate's abundant, and they're able to keep all the percentage in their favor. Nothing on the board right now for Cincinnati.
And they're doing a really good job at rotating these ultimates. They still have 3 ultimates in the bank, as well as Cincinnati coming in. So they're really utilizing these ults to keep the tempo in their favor right now. And you can just tell that they know that they don't have any points, and they want to win this map to continue it out. And if they do win this map, folks, we are going to a map 5. Full teams, so you can just tell, are just leaving everything they got on the line right now, and Aang is looking for a position for this duplication in hopes that this will be the button that they need to push in here and get a pick. Because that's what Cincinnati needs right now, is they need a play to be made and some picks to be made, picks done right now.
For Cincinnati, it's really a matter of getting big picks. You can't just get 1 or 2, you need to get multiples. But a shatter into a shield isn't going to give that to you. Multiple blizzards come out, however, and a dead end of the back, but the kill's still coming through for Cincinnati as Tennessee are going to have to go on back to spawn unless they can keep their Reinhardt alive. The Shatter comes through from Bashir. That's really just about it. Cincinnati still haven't been able to find themselves full presence here on the fight, and Andog looking for the good Echo, but gonna settle for the kill on a young man. Duplicate still online and finds the Doomfist, a good choice. It's only gonna take one decent punch here from them. But a charge comes through onto the Echo, so not gonna find anything. Still able to get out with their life. And a freeze on point for University of Tennessee is going to keep the stall on the second point alive. But for University of Cincinnati, so far, you're very close to getting 2/3 of the point, but you've only gotten one tick. So if you aren't able to take that one last little bit, you are going to have to be going back to spawn with nothing in your bank but that one tick. Alex back to spawn out of the Diva Bomb, and Speedy going to get taken down as well. So University of Cincinnati not in a situation where they have the bodies to keep the point.
Oh man, yeah, they are very you can just tell that this team has definitely played and is very comfortable on Volskaya and Dishes right now with their rotation and their picks, with the stall coming in. We are in last fight territory right now, Scheidel, and not many ultimates in favor of University of Cincinnati. But you know what? It did seem a little suspicious that Lucky Dog was looking in that corner, so we are going to pause right now. And, oh man, last fight territory. Cincinnati's not looking so hot right now, especially since they really utilized quite a bit of their ults last fight, and we're getting some switches here.
Yep, and I often say that, control point isn't necessarily the best litmus test for how a team plays, as it can get a little bit more deathmatchy in a lot of situations, and once you have point, as long as you know your rotations, that deathmatch element becomes a lot stronger for your DPS as you can hold your presence and everything. So as we've seen going into these a little bit more complex map types, like the hybrid map earlier and the 2CP that we're seeing now, it seems that Tennessee just has a little bit more of a familiar hold on how things go. It looks like we're going to have a short break here, ladies and gentlemen, as we figure out a couple of technical issues with the players in lobby. So please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with our action. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Just to update you on what happened, there was a quick power outage that affected one of our teams. So that the issues have been resolved, subs have been put in place, and they are ready to get right back into the action. Oh, sorry, no subs. I'm hearing it in my ear that all the players that you saw on the field before are back into the action. Lucky Dog and Young Man going to be coming back for Tennessee. With no ultimates online, but with 30 seconds left in your defense, it's okay. Your team can hold you. With Cynic getting this early picks here, 87% up to this Blizzard. Going to be able to throw that into the next encounter, keep this defense alive. Now going into the overtime push for University of Cincinnati. You see the sound barrier from Paraver there, and the Shatter comes through with the help of the Blizzard just to make sure that Tennessee can drive this home. There's the Meteor Strike from Alex. Punches through, but a Wraith-forming Reaper able to get out of the fight pretty quickly. But other than that, the rest of the members are going to be pretty much set. Fat University of Tennessee should be able to hold their defense alive. They're going to take Volskaya Industries, put this to a 1-1, and like Tropic Theory said, they will be guaranteeing that we play a map 5, so we will see both Route 66 and Lijiang Tower. Speedy with the play of the game here on the May, no doubt there at the very beginning. Big freeze on the Tennessee. Definitely the reason that Cincinnati was able to find that first point, and sadly wasn't able to kind of carry it through to the second point. But looking at the maps that we have going forward with Route 66 and Lijiang Tower for Cincinnati, I feel like Route 66 is kind of a make or break scenario where if they're able to bring out a really good play here on Route 66, it puts it back into Control Center, at which point it's a lot more heavily in their favor, where it becomes that brawl, death matchy kind of situation. So for UTK, you carry the win streaks through, you take Route 66, and then it should be a pretty easy take from there. You've kind of put enough of a dent into the mental of Cincinnati to where it becomes more of a winnable fight for me on Lijiang Tower. We are having a couple of technical difficulties, ladies and gentlemen, so bear with us. But we are going to have Route 66 here in just a moment, so don't go anywhere. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, but this time around, you don't have to sit there and listen to us talk about what might happen on Route 66, because we are going to be getting right on into the action here, Tropic. And for UTK, a very big win on that third map on Volskaya. Pretty confident. Pretty big gap between them and Cincinnati when it came to that. But I don't think you want to go into Lijiang Tower down a map.
No, you're very right. And even with those two players that had some power issues, they were still able to take it from University of Cincinnati, making that 1-1 here. But, Reginald is back in for University of Cincinnati as they are on the defense this time around. Doesn't look like I'll get that full court hold. Actually, Shidle, am I going to get the full court hold that I always want? Maybe. It looks like everybody's being sneaky. And it does look like we will get the full press hold right now. I'm really curious how University of Tennessee is going to handle this because this is all time burner right now, folks. University of Cincinnati is going to try to burn as much time down because thankfully with the respawn, they're going to be able to contest once again. So we'll see how UTK handles this full court hold.
They're going to send out some information. They've immediately gathered the fact that the entire team is right there up on the high ground. So, counterplay, take the opposite high ground, play the pick battle if you need to, and just wait for Speedy or Alex to kind of figure out who's going to be taking it in this engagement. If you're Tennessee, you have the ability to kind of get in their face, but they played this right. Make sure that you get to the payload, then drop when you can, force them to engage you, and use your May wall to your advantage before they can do the same. Immortality Field's going to come out, but UTK still having a confident hold. Alex on this McCree and Zenith on the May, both able to find a plentiful amount of kills in the engagement. So University of Cincinnati back to spawn, back to the drawing board, as University of Tennessee are going to be able to push this a little bit further, make that a lot bit further before they can regroup and come back at it.
Yeah, only burning down a minute on the clock, really pushing this payload along. But University of Cincinnati did exactly what they wanted to as well and build those ultimates coming in. Windmill, Engdog, Speedy, having those ultimates. And an ultimate like Blizzard can be very deadly if you're able to get a big enough Blizzard. But also on the flip side, UTK has those ultimates online as well. And we are going to see another contest here.
And look out for Lucky Dog, the hungry diva. Definitely got to be trying to gobble up the gravitons and these snowballs that are going to be coming into the equation on the other side of the May wall. However, not able to find the diva. Deadeye going to last for just a little bit longer, but luckily, Lucky Dog has the Deadeye ready at the very end. However, Chu going to make quick work of that diva suit as Windmill able to get very aggressive into this push here. The Blizzard will come out from University of Tennessee. It's able to find a couple of kills, but a counter Blizzard just a little bit later is there for the Shatter. The damage from the Shatter going to come through. You don't get to see the effect, but did land on 4 people, but because they're frozen, it doesn't lay them down.
You know what? Now the question is right now, though, did Cincinnati use too many ults? They only have one on the table coming up, Silver Talon, and, UTK has a good share of ults coming in their wheelhouse right now. So that could have been a little bit too much value thrown on the table, especially since, UTK is very close to getting this first point.
With the high ground approach, it's going to try and position Alex in an advantageous spot, but it's going to force Basher to drop down before Cincinnati gets into the mix at all. So there goes the self-destruct into the back charge from the Reinhardt isn't going to land, and self-destruct won't find any fruition. Sound Barrier going to keep Tennessee alive while they wait for Basher's Shatter to have an impact, but a frozen Reinhardt can't commit that ultimate. So the May wall, the final kind of barrier for that Shatter landing, is able to find 2. Deadeye finds nil as Alex finds a couple of support kills into the back, and we'll be working up this Deadeye and have exactly what they need to shut the door on Cincinnati.
Oh man, yeah, like on the flip side, UTK utilizing quite a bit of ults in their wheelhouse as well. Cincinnati having that wheelhouse and Nangdog's ultimates on here, this is all going to be a burn of time. 3 minutes and 16 on the clock right now for UTK to get the second point. And you know what? Also, both of these teams are going to want to fight for this high ground right now. Both have McCrees, both have Divas, and so we'll see who wins the high ground fight. And that could potentially be the game maker, in a sense.
And look at the setup that University of Tennessee is kind of committing to here. They've got this frontal assault from the majority of the team, but then Alex off to the side, ready to go up onto this high ground for the perfect moment and the perfect Deadeye. So they've kind of discovered a good crossfire to put the University of Cincinnati in between. There goes the Deadeye out of the back of the Blizzard just to make sure they can find the kills they want. And yeah, that's going to be a quick team kill here for UTK, as University of Cincinnati seems to be losing a bit of momentum here in the series.
Yeah, and you know what? They utilize quite a bit of ults coming in, and not getting enough value on them. We are gonna head into that last round, or that last third point, which is definitely gonna be more of that brawl style. I'm thinking that, you know, we might have some teams that opt to go change back to the Zarya, opt for the grab. So we'll see what they decide on. But you know what? University of Tennessee has a really great rhythm going on right now to really take control of this tempo, Shidle, that Cincinnati has to make a play, has to do something to really take them off this groove and tempo control. They got to take the tempo back.
Yeah, pacing is such an important thing in a game like Overwatch, where if you're able to control it, you ultimately control when and also where fights happen. You can see University of Cincinnati not able to stand their ground at the moment, as University of Tennessee have just continued this boulder downhill. And, you know, not to be frank or a defeatist, but it's all downhill from here for Cincinnati. University of Tennessee shouldn't have any real issue driving this payload home. They're going to have a really good time bank. And if you're Cincinnati, you win that first fight, then you get tied, and then you get kind of dumped on Volskaya. So this is a big hit for the mental. You got to be able to answer back, and with the payload almost getting there seamlessly, that's a difficult task to do. Another Blizzard comes out, but a lot of help for University of Tennessee here on the attack. University of Cincinnati do have the self-destruct as well as the Deadeye if they can get back from spawn in time. Reginald in the sound barrier, waiting in the wings. Going to be committed here pretty soon, I believe, and that... Did Lucky Dog self-destruct take it out? I don't think they used it.
Oh, no, I don't think they used it, but yep, Cincinnati finally getting all ground under them, especially since, you know, they have that spawn advantage, and they have quite a bit of ults in their wheelhouse coming on, where UTK is probably looking more or less for a dry fight right now, because they are low on that ult economy, only having that D.Va coming in. Dry push, try to probably push out quite a bit of Cincinnati's ults, because they are well aware that they're ready and probably trying to go for that for Reginald's beat. Try to force it out so they have some free playroom to push it to the last point.
And Windmill going to be looking for a big shatter, possibly through the payload if they can work it out, but instead going to take advantage of the bit of confusion caused by the self-destruct. So charges off, isn't able to find really any fruition from the charge, but gets back into the fight pretty quickly before getting expensed once again. And Andog on this defense for University of Cincinnati. They've been able to keep University of Tennessee at bay, even though the cards definitely were in favor of UTK. University of Cincinnati still doing a good job of mitigating that. Has to deal with this. Had to get the May. Had to get the May. Let Zenith get out alive. It's bad news bears.
Oh, you're completely right, especially since, you know, he has that ultimate and not ready to use. We are in last fight territory right now. UTK has to make these points and has to take control of this tempo once again. You know, Cincinnati having that spawn advantage, they have to get big plays, not just one or two plays, big plays to get a team wipe and cap this point to third point.
Oh, the self-destruct goes up, but it goes a little bit too far. Lands in that upper cubby and doesn't find anybody on the downside. A very ballsy charge there from Busher, but it is going to pay off with a big shatter, and it's going to matter. The kill's coming through for Tennessee. Cincinnati back to spawn into a desperate position. The Deadeye comes out and has to be committed. Is anybody going to be looking? Nobody going to look at Speedy. Able to find three, and suddenly it's alive for Cincinnati. However, they need to get one or two members back onto the point. You can see Silver Talon now making it back on the Hammond to keep the stall alive. Basher, however, is swinging away on this Reinhardt. Hasn't had to put the hammer away at all. It's going to be up to Windmill on the counterpart. Reinhardt to win this duel. The healing coming through, however, for University of Tennessee. The spin to win, keeping things alive for University of Cincinnati. Overtime has now been enacted. The shatter gets blocked. Windmill has one of their own here. And it's going to land. They're going to die in the process. But they're able to lay down enough crowd control for the members of University of Cincinnati to rally around the point and deal with the straggling members of University of Tennessee.
Oh man, what a cleanup with Reginald doing that celebratory beat. You know, I have to say, I thought that was game when Aang's Blizzard got eaten by Lucky Dog. You know, Blizzard is such a powerful ult, and to be able to get eaten in such a crucial fight like that, I thought that was over, but no! Speedy changing my mind and coming out with that massive Deadeye, giving Cincinnati the momentum to come in there. And, you know, I gotta, you know, having that spawn advantage doesn't hurt either. And as we've seen, they are very well versed with that stall game. You know, coming into 1 or 2 to really keep it alive in favor of them. And you know what? They did, denying UTK the chance to get to that 3rd point. So University of Cincinnati has to get to at least that point. And you know that the map will go in their favor, or you know we might see a very great defense coming in from UTK to keep it alive and have the match go in their favor.
And right now, definitely favoring, in my opinion, Tennessee, because it's overtime there at the very end, but you have a pretty good hold. However, for Cincinnati, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about your win condition. You got to get it all the way there.
Mm-hmm. You're completely right, and we are going to see another close hold to burn down this time right now. We're watching Lucky Dog play some video games, but here it is. We'll see if this is going to be enough with their composition, and if Silver Talon's change on the Zarya will be able to be the play that they need to take it to that 2nd point, or to the last point on 3rd point.
So they're going to get found out at the very beginning, so the May wall comes up. It's going to make it difficult for this attack to really come to full fruition for University of Tennessee, but Cincinnati's still getting picked apart a little bit here and there. It's a nice little nook and cranny for you to hide in, and you know, without perfect synergization with the rest of your team, it's going to be difficult, but a big shatter from Windmill, then the WM1 is all that's needed from there on out. The payload will move, and Cincinnati's got time.
What a quick shatter from Windmill, and already 40% and counting to get it up. UTK is going to be coming back, and they will have one chance to hopefully continue burning time. Not as a successful close hold as Cincinnati had, only burning, you know, about 40 seconds or so off. But here they are. Brawl is going to start and trying to get those ultimates being built.
Yeah, one issue with the fact of holding a little bit farther back in that alleyway is that you don't have as much time to get yourself into position. So you're seeing UTK try to utilize this high ground, and luckily Alex able to do a really good job of doing so as the fight goes through. So Cincinnati, you know, you watch that high ground a little bit better, that payload should already be there.
And you know what? It's going to be a little rough because Silver Talon is on the Zarya. They do have the ultimate coming online, which Grav can be such a powerful ult. But Alex is going to be trouble on that high ground, so somebody has to take him off there, or else this could be in trouble if he goes unchecked.
You never want to leave any long-range DPS uncountered or you know, without any attention being paid to them. And once again, Alex is kind of just free in the back line to do as they please. Nobody really giving too much attention to them. A counter shatter comes through, it's going to land, and UTK shouldn't have too much of an issue, but the freeze comes through, and it's a big one indeed. Windmill able to respond with a big kill.
Oh man, what a freeze, and the Speedy coming in with the high noon. That might have been a little bit of overkill, but the bomb comes in as Lucky Dog tries to keep this alive, but no. Cincinnati is going to cap this on the first time with quite a bit of time to spare. We will see if this will be a walk in the park like UTK did on the 2nd point, or if they're going to be able to hold this a little bit higher, a little bit longer. Alex has that Deadeye, and I'm sure that he is going to set up on top, and he's actually looking for a cheeky one right now. Being patient, waiting around that high ground. So I'm sure that we're going to see a high noon here shortly. And ooh, Engdog is looking in a little bit of a uncomfortable position there on that high ground. But thankfully, Chu is going to keep it alive to do those poke damages.
And Engdog knows now. They know that Alex is looking for a good spot to get this Deadeye off. So they're going to stay right where they are, where they can kind of monitor this edge, as well as contribute to the fight and in keeping their backline safe. But it's going to be Zenith with the Blizzard to come out big, but Windmill's already up in their face, and there's just not enough time to heal while that Reinhardt hammer swings. Cincinnati looking very good on their attack.
No, definitely. I gotta say that Engdog's Blizz came out on top in that scenario, and thankfully UTK is going to get an opportunity to hold again. They are speeding along with Parvia's speed boost and dropping on, especially since they have the ultimates to utilize and hopefully burn down this time that Cincinnati has created for themselves.
A difficult spot to attack, as now the defense has a pretty good handle on positioning, and there aren't really any advantageous spots for you to get to from your attacking position. Amplification Matrix from Young Man going to keep Cincinnati out of line of sight for a little bit. You see Speedy just making sure that nobody's trying to get a cheeky shot or kill there, working up their Deadeye. Oh, not gonna be able to get it off though. Speedy there to interrupt the story from Alex, trying to work this high noon in, is able to find the shot in the follow-up. Jedi doesn't take it, but you know what? The ultimates aren't always everything. Sometimes they're not even what you're supposed to be looking at. But a beautiful job by Speedy to get things done.
Oh man, yeah, Speedy's hitting those headshots right now, and Alex getting a little bit too gritty with that sneaky backline high noon. We saw Aang and both Speedy really on top of that, so maybe a little greedy on that part, but it's okay. We have this, UTK has the spawn advantage in their favor right now on the defensive side, but Windmill and Silverton have both of their ults, and they are utilizing them. Or not quite yet, but they will.
Definitely will. Windmill with that shatter online for Cincinnati. You put them into a small corridor, and it's just going to allow your Reinhardt to swing away. And right now, Tennessee, not only are you not really able to contribute anything to the fight, but you can't get in position to where you're going to have an advantageous go about it the next time around. And this is not the first time that Alex has been caught out alone. Needs to be very careful here against the Zarya. Now the Zarya with the help of the Baptiste, but onto the high ground goes the McCree, unchecked completely now. Finally getting spotted out by Speedy and getting dinked on, but it's not going to be enough. The Graviton comes through for Cincinnati. There's a lot more ultimates on the board as well. Amplification Matrix, Sound Barriers, Blizzard. They're throwing everything except the kitchen sink at University of Tennessee right now, and it's working.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say bless you, but that's more than just one to chew.
No, exactly, and oh my god, that's sneaky. Oh, but here it is. We'll see if this is enough to keep UTK alive right now.
The shatter was a good play coming out the bat, but it's not going to be enough. The grab as well from Lucky Dog, not going to be landing as what Tennessee needs. As Andog and the rest of the University of Cincinnati wipe up the members of Tennessee off of this payload. You know, you can't really go too far without getting hit by this Reinhardt hammer, or axe, should I say. Diva getting frozen out as well, going to make it difficult for Tennessee. Cincinnati have a pretty good hold on this third point. It just takes a little bit further for them to go ahead and secure their second map of the day. And they're going to be able to take it. Cincinnati pushing it to the third point and putting the record to a 2-1 in today's matchup. Going into our final map, Control, which they won off the bat. You feel pretty good.
And here is Chu with the play of the game. Seen his name in the kill feed. Playing with that bloodthirsty Baptiste and support line. I'm a fan of that as a support player. I love seeing those players make those plays, and whew, man. But you know, I gotta talk about that rotation in the end there. The Graviton coming in and Angdog coming around the back, sneaky, and putting that Blizzard on the feet of UTK and just really displacing the groove and the tempo that they had created. In the end, with that full team wipe, it was a stall game after that. And that was the main goal right there. It wasn't any, you know, as ultimates were on, we're going to use them and we're going to try our best to stall. But in the end, Cincinnati really took advantage of the tempo that they created with that play, and the map went to them.
Yeah, and a big portion of that was how they played that third point in kind of manipulating where Tennessee was able to set up. So you don't allow them to transgress across open space. You don't allow them to take anything over by the 18-wheeler. And once you get control of Semi, your McCree kind of has the upper hand, literally. So you get a lot of chances to kind of utilize that. But it's not over for them. We do have one more map coming up, unless University of Tennessee can squeak this one out. But we are going to be going to Lijiang Tower for our fifth and likely final map. But if Tennessee's able to take the win, then we do have a tiebreaker planned for Busan.
Whew, we'll see. I am a little curious. The pressure is on for both of these teams, and you know, we talked about in the beginning. A lot is on the line for both of them. You know, of course, the ego. We always want to win, and especially since they're so close, 18 and 17. But league championships is on the line, so they both definitely want to win right now. It is definitely showcasing it. So, though it's unlikely that we might go to a 6th map with how UTK is playing, that might be the case right now, Scheidel.
Very true. It's still highly in the realm of possibility. I'm solely going off of how I felt control point was
True.
the first time around. We saw Cincinnati; they were getting to the point first. They weren't necessarily always getting point control first, but they were winning those first fights, so they were able to get the more meaningful point control after that first fight. And taking it from them was a task. The only time it succeeded was on a single map of Oasis, and on UTK's favor, they were able to bring it back completely there on University. It's just that's not going to happen on every map, and with a map like Lijiang Tower and a composition like what Cincinnati's been bringing to the table, they're favored in my opinion.
No, you're right, and Cincinnati was doing a really good job on the control maps, on just keeping control of that tempo. And you know, if UTK is able to bring the tempo control that they played with in Volskaya, we could potentially be seeing another long set of control maps coming in with those 99 to 99s, or at least fairly close, like it was in Oasis. But you know, we'll see if you know, what they've learned playing Cincinnati through this course of the rest of the maps tonight. If that'll be enough.
Hopefully. But for University of Tennessee, I feel like this is kind of a bit of an uphill battle when it comes down to this DPS matchup. It doesn't feel like Ndog's been kind of given the respect they deserve.
Yeah.
But it's not. Hopefully that's something that Tennessee brings to the table, because if Tennessee's able to kind of open their eyes just a little bit longer, a little bit wider, you know, keep a better eye on the flanks, and like one of the things that we saw Cincinnati doing with the May there on the second point of Route 66, continuously checking that stairwell to make sure that Alex couldn't get any sort of freedom on that McCree to get a cheeky shot or walk down those stairs enough to get a flashbang and a good headshot. Didn't give them the freedom of having that flank at their disposal. So I think if Tennessee kind of returns the favor and does a little bit better at keeping Ndog kind of at bay, or you know, under wraps, if you will, then it's going to be a lot better of a game for them. If they don't, then they're going to lose. Frank and simple.
Especially on these maps like Gardens or Night Market that have that verticality. I'm sure Ndog is going to opt to go back on that Echo, and we saw how quickly each fight he had his duplicate online, and each duplicate was just making plays off the bat, getting those ults very quickly in the duplicated form. And I think you're completely right. UTK is not respecting Ndog enough, and seeing those plays that they're making, and the DPS line for UTK really need to step up, recognize the power and the value that Ndog is doing for Cincinnati, and hopefully pay the respects dues and also keep him in check. That's what UTK really needs right now.
Well, enough theory crafting from us up here at the desk. We are ready now to go on into our fifth and possibly final map here on Lijiang Tower. Neither team going to have an attacking advantage because it is control points, so they are released at the gates at the same time and have to fight for that central point to get to 100% so that they can take it. So University of Cincinnati, you're looking at getting out the gate quick. Getting point control is important, but winning that first fight is crucial. And then from there on out, you just kind of ride the waves and predict the ultimates, and you'll be able to do a good job. And I do want to point out, you see Symmetras, they're most likely not going to stay, just to get people out the gate a little quicker.
Very true. Sometimes they do opt to stay, though, so I'm a little curious which ones they will choose. But you know what? We do have a switch-in. Hubs will be coming in for UTK, swapping it out. So we will see how the Junkrat does play, especially compared to Cincinnati's Doomfist that Aang has been opted to play on.
I like the Doomfist pick here. Lot of walls for people to collide with. It's pretty much a free kill if you're in a situation like fighting on top of the stairs. Both teams this time are going to be opting to keep the Symmetras on board, but Ndog already found 3 in this fight, and this is what I'm talking about. That first punch comes through from the Doomfist, and you have to immediately give purchase to that Doomfist. Go, okay, wait a minute, we need to deal with this, or else he's just going to pick us off, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, you know what? Alex is recognizing that Engdog is a threat to the team and going to go to that McCree to hopefully utilize that stun to stun him out of those pushes that he's been getting. Both teams not looking, still midway through the ultimates, but the windows are coming into play here, and so, but a pick immediately onto Hubs coming in.
That's a big opening pick for Speedy in Cincinnati. You take Hubs out of the fight, that Riptire isn't able to get built up, and that's one of the big win conditions for University of Tennessee with their DPS lineup that they have, is to be able to get aggressive and quick pushes with their Reinhardt off of the back of a tire.
Yeah, and you know, Cincinnati has these ultimates being built, but Tennessee is still struggling right now. Typically, you know, Baptiste really has those ults fairly quickly, but Young Mammoth is just barely getting it right now, as Shu has that out and about for Cincinnati to keep control of this tempo of play right now and force UTK to step out of the line of sight and wait it out.
And this is something that University of Cincinnati did extremely well on their first go of the control point, and that's aggression, aggression, aggression. Force University of Tennessee to use value and utility just to get out of their situation. Not to get into the fight, but out of their situation. So that Shatter comes through into the backline, and it's just another bad spot to be in for University of Tennessee. There's not really anywhere that they can run. That shield is blocking Young Man from healing them in any real profitable fashion, and that's all she wrote.
Oh man, yeah. And you know what? Engdog is doing so much work, but also Speedy always charged as that Symmetra, and we got 2 high charge beams coming online. Last fight territory right now. UTK has to utilize these ultimates and make plays. Oh, the grab right now, Scheidel.
And luckily the Immortality field is there, but sadly they lose Dub's junk tire in the mix. So a big play on Alex to kind of salvage this for University of Tennessee, but it's 99% for Cincinnati. You get 1 or 2 dry peaks, get this Graviton out of the mix, and then from there you use that amplification matrix to kind of just send your team into the end game, if you will. Only 1 fight left for Cincinnati that's needed.
Yeah, only 1 fight, and you know, UTK utilized all their ultimates that round except for Lucky Dog's grab. So Lucky Dog has to get a big grab, and the team has to really build off of it. But what a gnarly pick immediately.
And that's a commitment that Andog makes, knowing that they die there. You use all of your cooldowns to take out that Baptiste. You know you're going to be dropped into the middle of a 5-man group. That's a little bit angry that you just killed Kenny. I mean, it's a hard situation to be in, but you know that the rest of your team is going to have a big opportunity on the back of it.
Yep. Ooh, you're completely right here, and that is not going to be enough to even cap this point. Only Unity getting only 41%, and the first map does go to Cincinnati. Man, yeah, you are completely right, though. Engdog just really recognizing that those picks are important, and that would have been the winning condition for the team. If that BAP goes down, not a lot of healing output for the remaining of the team, and so if Cincinnati target focuses those the remaining players, it's easy from there. Does look like since UTK is gonna match the lineup, and we have completely matching team compositions coming into this fight onto Night Market.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Alex is able to get enough value as Engdog has for Cincinnati.
And full mirror matchups, they go either one way or the other. It's not usually an equal battle. So we'll see which Doomfist is able to kind of shine here in the beginning. First pick going to be important to be able to find Young Man out. So University of Tennessee just do not have the health that they need to continue this fight. They have to back out.
Yeah, you know what? That was a crucial pick that Chu got immediately, and already 50% to the window and counting. Strong pick coming in, and Alex is going to opt to change off of that Doomfist, going to the McCree here. So hopefully that'll be enough to really recognize that Engdog is just this threat that UTK needs to deal with right now.
Yeah, just a quick check-in on the other points, just to make sure that we don't have any stragglers that got left behind. Occasionally, there's a Junkrat still playing with grenades or something. But not in this situation, everybody's here and accounted for. Oh, Windmill really wanted a shatter there, but did get caught out being a little bit too aggressive about it, but still gets what they want. Hand in the cookie jar, and they're pulling out Oreos.
Oh man, Cincinnati is just on a roll right now. They have their rhythm locked down, and they are you can tell that this team is ready to hope to potentially cap this second point and call it a day. But you know what? UTK is not over, and the Hubs does go to the Pharah. We are going to a pharmacy in hopes that taking these angles, you know, having pinstering off the team will be enough damage output to cap points for this point.
In my opinion, like, well, why don't you do this first? You know that the Doom Fist is coming out.
Yeah.
You know that they're going to be playing that Symmetra because it's just, you can't play this point without it at this stage in the game. And look at the opening. The Pharah causes enough damage into the back line where the errant McCree shots that are just getting speckled in are able to find kills, and then you're able to actually advance on to the point. 76 to a barrage. University of Tennessee have what they need to keep this alive, but they let University of Cincinnati back once, and I feel like it's a done deal.
No, you're completely right. But you know what? They did force Aang off to the Echo. So we'll see which Air Force does win that battle here. But you're completely right. One of a good coach friend of mine told me that, you know, when a teammate has a player that you know is doing so much damage, you have to play knowing that there's a Doomfist on there, knowing that there's a Sombra on there. But here it is. We will see if UTK is able to hold this. Please, they're coming in with Windmill right now. Just slamming the hammer. Alex put in a little bit of damage in there, but I don't think it's going to be enough, Scheidel.
Not at all, and it's not often that you see a Reinhardt take down a pharmacy. So that's, you know, if that's not an achievement, Papa Jeff, please get on it. Make it an achievement.
Where is the spray for that? Oh man, though, but you know what?
Barrage ult charge here for the Hub, but the question is going to be, do they get it off? Does the flashbang land? Does the Immortality Field come out? What's University of Cincinnati's real delay to this? And there isn't going to be one. The barrage is going to be absolutely massive. Cincinnati commits the sound barrier, which makes that a much bigger deal than it was going to be. But you're coming back with the Graviton, so you feel okay.
You're coming back with the Graviton, but UTK also has the High Noon, the Shatter, and the Window. You can tell that UTK recognizes that this could be the last map, and they are fighting for what they can right now. Cincinnati, this is going to be a mind game. They probably want to come in, they want to finish this out, and so hopefully they are calm and collective and don't utilize these ultimates in a sloppy manner, and we get some clean Overwatch right now from them. Oh!
And they really tried to commit everything there.
High Noon coming in from Alex, but you know what? We are really low in the alt economy time bank for both of these teams. The Hubs has that pharmacy ult coming in online. We saw how nasty the last one is, so it's up to Angdog right now to put him in place and get a duplicate off and kill this Pharah, because the Pharah is causing Cincinnati so much stress right now.
And you know, there's two general ways to deal with the Pharah. You either focus that and put a lot of utility into it, or you completely leave them alone and win the fight on the ground. But winning the fight on the ground is not what's happening right now for University of Cincinnati. They just haven't been able to re-break into the point against Tennessee. It just doesn't seem like the pieces of the puzzle are going to come together. And it looks like Tennessee is going to push us to a third map here on Lijiang Tower.
Oh man, yeah, we are going on to Lijiang Tower, and you know what? I do think that we might see the Hubs continue on the pharmacy, especially since it's Garden. We might see the continued fight with both Air Forces and seeing who comes on top right now. But you know what? We talked about in the beginning of this Scheidel that Aang was doing so much damage, and I gotta say that last round for UTK, they finally paid their respects to Aang.
Yeah. And he's been doing a pretty insane job on the Echo, and you saw what happens when you finally give that Echo a little bit of respect and say, maybe they do require both our DPS giving them focus. Maybe they do require our off-tank giving a little bit of help in those 1v1s kind of situation, and it works out well for University of Tennessee.
100%. Ooh, but Andog is going to go on the Sombra, so they're probably gonna try to hack Dubs out of the air and try to build that EMP.
Yeah, Dub's definitely gonna be a target, but Basher, the primary hack for Andog, take the shield out of the fight, let your Reinhardt win it, but Alex able to find a key kill, and with Dubs into the backline, University of Tennessee look really good as they pile Cincinnati into White Room and take them out quickly.
You know what? It seems like Cincinnati is struggling with the hubs on this pharmacy right now. Andog only getting the 30% and not a whole lot of ultimate charge coming in favor of the University of Cincinnati. But on the flip side, UTK, Bashir, Young Man already have those ultimates ready for this next fight here. And they have control of the tempo right now. So hopefully Cincinnati is able to counter this Pharah because they are doing so much damage here.
And a good hack onto the Immortality Field so that Baptiste isn't going to be able to be fully committed into this fight. Immortality Field comes out from Chu to help University of Cincinnati get across the bridge and into a better spot, but Young Man just going to reciprocate in kind with a window of opportunity of their own. Alex almost going to have this Deadeye online, so going to be a big deal if Speedy can get something done, but Alex already committed to the 1v1, has the damage, flashbang kills. And now the Deadeye is free to be released from Alex. The Windmill able to find one, able to find two, able to find three, looking for more. But Windmill completely turning things around for University of Cincinnati in that fight. And even though Tennessee has a lot of ultimates, they're going to have to reposture and reposition.
Thanks for the assist.
Yeah, 100%. And you know what? Andog does have that EMP coming in. So that could be proved quite deadly if the team is able to really hop on. But it is a matter of what ultimate UTK is going to utilize to initiate and engage on here. And if it's going to be enough. Dog trying to get a little bit of picks and probably trying to hack that Pharah right now.
Yeah, and that Sombra composition really difficult to get in when they have the point, but it also makes it very difficult on their end to get back into the point. However, if your Sombra's not on point, it's not going to work out. The EMP is at the ready, but Andog just isn't in position. And luckily, Chu is here on the Baptiste, and he's a little bit bloodthirsty, so you don't have to be there for that. And now we're going into a fight where the control percentage is about to go in favor of University of Cincinnati, and an EMP is still going to be lying in wait for Tennessee as they approach with a very large ult bank.
A lot of ults, and you know what? I'd be pretty happy that the Grav is down and the window is down as well. But they have to be careful of Reginald's B coming in for the Grav. So hopefully they're able to bait that out.
And there goes the Graviton. Andog trying to wait for the perfect moment, is able to hit it while the fire is ulting. Immortality Field there as well. They were waiting for it, and it paid off. Deadeye still available for Speedy. Basher still has the Shatter at their disposal. Young Man with an amplification matrix for University of Tennessee, but with Windmill and Basher both going down, it's going to be a battle of the McCrees here on point, and Mercy won't be there to see it. Paravir back to spawn. Cincinnati to 83%. They've kept the Deadeye online, and they should have an amplification matrix very, very soon.
We are in last fight territory right now. Lucky Dog changing to the Diva, trying to get there fast, as well as Dahubs going to the Doomfist. We have lots of ults online, but we gotta touch the point right now, Shidle.
Yeah, 97%. Somebody needs to be there before that takes over, and it's going to be Lucky Dog who's there on that Hammond. And Hut really looking to make a big play on that Doomfist, but wasn't able to stay alive. 2 members down. We lose a main support. They've got a lot of healing, and it's a bad situation for University of Tennessee as Cincinnati goes 1 by 1 to secure their way here. That's going to put them to a 3-3 record, a 50-50 win-loss percentage, and if I'm not mistaken, a place in the top 10.
Whew, congratulations, Cincinnati, on your win tonight and potentially getting into the league championships on April 16th. But oh my goodness, Windmill coming in here with swinging his heart out and getting the kills that he needed to secure the win for the team. Wow. You know what? I gotta say, Shidle, that UTK towards the end there on that mid map onto Night Gardens, they finally paid their respect to Andog, excuse me. I'm sorry, Andog, for calling you Ang. Did not mean that, not sure why it came out, but they finally paid the respect to Andog. And then on the flip side, you know, Cincinnati was really struggling with the hubs on the pharmacy, but unlike UTK, they paid their respect to the hubs and recognized that they were a threat. Really played around the line of sight, trying to steer away from the pharmacy and that damage output, and in the end, they succeeded in that. So great job coming in from Cincinnati and the recognition with that.
Very much so, and we're going to get a quick insight into what was going on behind the scenes here in just a moment. So please stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen, as we get ourselves a player from the University of Cincinnati. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for sticking with us throughout our matches today. We just saw University of Tennessee and University of Cincinnati duking it out, and University of Cincinnati coming out on top. So we've got to get an insight into what that was like. We've got Speedy here on call with us, and Speedy, how you doing today?
Doing great. Lovely evening. Little late, but
A
that's
little
about
bit.
it. Doing great
Well,
though.
we'll keep it to your name. We'll keep this quick. My first question that I want to ask both you and University of Tennessee fairly new in the split, so you guys are forced with an uphill battle, and a lot of other teams have a lot longer of a record, but you've been able to hold your own pretty well. You've got one more week of play, and you pretty much just solidified almost the ink is still drying a spot into that top 10. How does that feel as a player and as a team?
It feels awesome to be able to be like first off introduced into the league. Uh, Big thanks on your guys' behalf. It's definitely a different environment for us compared to like last semester and previous semesters. We In order to prepare, I mean, we kind of do a couple scrims weekly, experiment with comps as well as run what metas are going on. But after that, I think we've been faring well against the other teams, and it's super interesting to see what other teams are running, the other team's strong suits based on watching previous games, your guys' stream, such and such. But overall, I think we're super excited on how we're doing.
Oh man, yeah, you guys are doing fabulous. You and Andog just had this energy built, and it was just like a undefeatable DPS duo coming in this game for since between you and Tennessee. But you guys are in a very tough league coming in with the independent league. And speaking of which, the championships are being held next week. It's next weekend. How are y'all preparing for that? And is there a specific team that you guys are looking forward to potentially facing for that?
We are definitely looking forward for a rematch against Marist, and definitely Marist. I've got to stick with Marist. That was our first. I believe it was our first game coming into the league, and we were psyched up and ready for it. And I believe we were just. I think it was the game was like 2 hours after a patch, so we're like, okay, what's new? What are we running? And it was kind of
Oh,
just us like trying to figure out where we were going, and we ended up taking one map, but I think we can take more. So potentially win the matchup. So definitely that.
ooh, that is definitely going to be exciting to see y'all hopefully face when we come to the league championships on April 16th. But we definitely want to go ahead and have you celebrate this awesome win, especially since y'all are going to the league championship. So once again, congratulations. But before I let you go to celebrate the win, the W with the team, anybody want to shout out tonight or anything fun going on?
Um, no shout outs on my behalf besides our UC Esports Twitch. That's about it.
Ooh,
There you
nice.
have it. Short and sweet. Thank you so much, Speedy, for joining us for the interview. And like Tropic said, carry our congratulations with you to your team.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course.